Hi guys, welcome back to the Big So Long. I'm Ginny and this is a new year. Happy 2022 to everybody. I hope everyone had a wonderful, relaxing and safe holiday season. And I am really glad to be moving into a new year like everybody else, right? So one of the things I was going to tell you guys about is we've been pretty busy over the holidays. I'm sure you can probably hear Claude howling in the background. That's one of the things that kept us very busy. Claude is new, if you guys remember from my last video. I'm going to just try to ignore him howling. He does this whenever my husband pulls into the drive or pulls out of the drive. Aside from that, he really doesn't do this at all. The other thing, so aside from Claude, over Christmas for a few days, we were dog sitting a friend's dog as well. So we had 4 dogs in our house. And I can't remember if I've told you guys this before, but we have a pretty small house. So it was a little chaotic here at Christmas. Then, like 3 days after Christmas or 4 days after Christmas, we had a new furnace put in. Now, people who've been watching me for a while may remember that very often when I'm in, especially if I'm at the cutting table, like doing a tutorial, you can hear my furnace, my heater or my air conditioner running like crazy. It's like super loud in the background. So, we had a small leak in our, in the gas in our furnace, so we had to replace the whole thing. So we replaced the air conditioner and the heater. The soonest I could do it was like December 28th or something like that. So it was freezing cold. We didn't have any heat all day because of course they were taking the heater out. And Claude was going bonkers the whole day. It took him 10 hours and it was like the longest 10 hours ever. Now, the reason I say this and bring this whole heater, air conditioner thing up now is because right now it's running and I can barely hear it, but I'm curious to see when I do the playback how loud it is on the video. We'll see. Anyways, yeah, 10 grand on a new air conditioner and heater is really not what we wanted to be doing in the middle of the holiday season, but what are you gonna do? Okay, that's enough about that stuff. What I really wanted to talk about was I was gonna say New Year's resolutions, but the thing is that I don't really like resolutions. For some reason, I feel like resolutions they always have like a negative connotation to me, and I've also just never ever been successful with a resolution, and probably because I think when we make resolutions, we tend to go like really big, like I'm gonna lose 50 pounds, or I'm gonna quit drinking, or I'm gonna get a new job, like big things, right? And they're not always within your control, so they're not really I just feel like a lot of times we set ourselves up for disappointment by making resolutions. What I prefer to do is to make goals. So they're essentially the same thing, but I try to keep them within a realm that I can actually control. And also this year, like I don't think I did this last year, but this year I'm gonna just set my goals for the first 3 months of the year. I feel like setting goals for an entire 12-month period is too daunting for me. I don't like it. And it's not that I can't plan that far in the future. It's just that things change over time and I may not have the same goals in 6 months that I have right now. So what are my goals, not my resolutions? I have a couple. For me personally, as always, I would like to be more organized. I don't know if you guys remembered last year at about this time, I had a notebook. I had put all of my stuff together in like a binder, and I was trying to be really organized about my videos and my plans and things like that. That worked for about 4 or 5 months. And then it sort of fell apart because, again, I felt like I had to plan so far in advance, and I didn't really, by the time I got to that plan, I didn't want to do that anymore. I had like a completely different idea. Now, I mean, there's something to be said for sticking with plans, but on the other hand, I mean, we're just making clothes here, so if I want to change my mind, we can change our mind, right? So, this year, I just bought a regular, like, date book, and I set up my videos by the month. So I don't have them planned out for 6 months. I just have them planned out for 4 weeks. And I'm hoping that that will be, more conducive to success for me. I'm hoping that I'll be able to stay on track then a little bit longer. The other thing that I planned to do last year, and I really just never got around to finishing it, was organizing not just my sewing room, but my sewing stuff. So primarily when I say my sewing stuff, I mean my fabric and my patterns. And I got about halfway through my fabric, which is pretty well organized. Well, I mean, it's cleaned up, kind of. It's actually not organized. It's folded. Half of it is folded. So I clearly have some work to do in that area. So again, that is one of my goals this year, and you will see how I kind of plan to accomplish that. I actually think I have a plan for accomplishing it, which I understand is essential to success with goals, is to actually have a plan to tackle them. So I really want to focus on making clothes that I really want to wear. So I talked about this a while back. I'm really going to try to, like, not focus on making so much stuff, but maybe focus on doing some more detailed work. So my goal for the next 3 months, for January, February, and March, my goal is to not sew more than 2 new garments a month, which is going to be hard for me because that's half of what I usually sew. But like I said back in the fall, completely overwhelmed with clothes that I don't want and don't wear. So I'm going to really focus on just doing 2 garments a month and making them really special. The things I'm going to focus on are more like embellishment kind of things. I have some examples for you here. I'll show you some pictures as we go along here. Let's see if I can find them. These first few pictures are from Diane Ericson. You can see some really beautiful, like, I don't know if it's Sashko or more like Boho stitching on this first jacket. And then I think I have a close-up picture of that as well. And then this next one is really just a detail of the whole garment is like a patchwork kind of garment, but I really love the way she sewed these buttons on. And then the third one is another jacket in multiple fabrics with some what looks like hand stitching on it. This next picture is from Alabama Chanin, or Natalie Chanin. Alabama Chanin is the company. Anyways, this is an up-close picture of one of her reverse applique designs, and then the second picture is that exact same design in an actual garment. That's a skirt. These are also from the Alabama Chanin website. And then this next one is a collaboration she did with somebody else, and I can't remember who right now, but I've been wanting to do something like this for a really long time. This is a jacket. I'll show you an up close of this one too. This is a jacket with just hand embroidered words on it, and I can't actually read these words, but it doesn't really matter. If I blew it up, I could. I have my own words I want to put on it. But I really love this idea, and I've wanted to do it for a really long time. The next couple of pictures are actually from one of my favorite companies. They're called Bluefish. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Bluefish. This first one is, I don't know if it's a dyed garment or painted, but I really love the different, I don't know, the dyeing or the painting on this particular garment. And then the second one, I don't know how they do this over there, but it looks to me like a stencil and paint, so I would really like to do something like that. These next few pictures are from Pearl Red Moon Art. If you guys remember, we did a sew along for one of her dresses, and I think it was might have been last spring, the 2 pegs. This is the same woman. This is some of her actual work, and these are her pictures. They're from, I think I got these from Instagram. But this first one here is a variety of different fabrics, and then she's done some stenciling next to them and on top of them. This next one is, again, some sort of an applique with some, what looks like sash coat stitching. And I don't know if you can see in the lower right-hand corner of that picture, it looks like she's done some machine stitching as well, so it's not all hand embroidered. This next one, I think, is one of her jackets, one of her patterns. I don't know which one, but really what I was mostly interested in was the way that she combined all these fabrics and made something that looked really cohesive and cool. So when I talk about doing something more, so that's the kind of thing that I'm wanting to focus on, at least for the next 3 months, while I limit myself to 2 garments a month. I should say, though, that when I say I'm limiting myself to 2 garments a month, I mean 2 new garments. That doesn't mean that I can't, like, remodel something or repair something or, yeah, anything like that. I can still do that stuff, because that doesn't really count. It's not a new garment. We're just talking 2 garments for the limit. Okay. Yeah, so this year, I'm going to start with that as my goal for the next 3 months. I'm going to try to focus on those kinds of embellishments on some garments. And then I would also like to, I would really like to do some upcycling. And we talked about this. We had a couple of comments of, like, back in September or November, whenever it was I came back from my little meltdown break. We had a couple of people mention that upcycling would be a good way to alleviate some of the stress around creating so much stuff. And so, not necessarily in this first quarter of the year, but sometime thereafter, I'd really like to look into doing some real good upcycling projects. The other thing I really want to try doing, and this probably will not be, well, I don't know. I was going to say probably not, it won't be a video, but maybe I'll be doing a video about it. Last Christmas 2020, I was really obsessed with this idea of natural dyeing. And my husband, for Christmas that year, bought an online course for me with all of the supplies, which were astronomically expensive, and a book, a completely separate book. And I was really super excited. And then it became time to take the class. And you know what, you guys, this sounds awful, but the instructor was so distracting to me that I didn't pay attention to the course. I didn't finish it. I went to the first, like, 3 or 4 sessions, and then I couldn't take it anymore. So I still have all of those supplies, and I still have the book. So also later in the year, probably when it's warm outside, because I think it's better for me to do this outside, I'd really like to experiment with some natural dye techniques. Okay, I almost forgot. We had a couple of comments from last week. First of all, the other person who always comments and has always commented on my channel, on my videos since way back, is Jolynn White. So Jolynn, I just really want to say thank you so much for always being around. I really do appreciate it. She always has something nice to say, and I love that. The other thing was what? Let's see. C. Taylor Luce suggested that if those ties okay, we were talking about my Inca top in the last video. And C. Taylor Luce said, if those ties bother you, just iron those and leave the rest. I don't know why that never occurred to me. Like, that's the easiest solution ever. Why wouldn't I just like run the iron down the tie and be done with it? It would take like a hot second, right? C. Taylor Luz, thank you so much for that suggestion. I haven't actually done it yet, but I am going to do that because that's infinitely easier than taking off the color and resewing it. And somebody else suggested something here, and I really, honestly, I can't find it now. So I apologize. Somebody suggested making the Arthur pants from So Liberated, and so I bought that pattern. I had it printed at a copy shop, and I have the pattern already. That is going to be one of my garments for January. The other garment I'm not 100% sure about yet. I think I want to make some sort of a jacket. When I was over at the So Liberated website, I also bought the oh my god, what's it called? The lichen duster. Because I've wanted to make that for ages. So that may be my second garment, but I also have the CNT Patterns, a little something jacket that I talked about a few weeks ago that I already know fits me and everything. So that might be my second garment. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I haven't decided. Okay, but I do have, before I go, I do have another question for you. I have a question for you guys. Number one, this isn't a question. I don't know where my head is today, guys. Sorry. I made another one of the wool fork dresses. Oh my god, that always tongue ties me. I made it in this gray linen. Obviously, this time I made it with the sleeves. I don't have a full picture of this for you yet because it's not quite finished. I have started doing some of my embellishing on this by adding some, just some really simple hand embroidery to the hem. And I think I'm going to add it at the top, around the neck, just at the bottom of the facing also. But I did want to say that I made the dress with the sleeves. I cut one size up from the slip. I'll leave a link to that review for you down below, the one when I did the slip review. I cut the dress one size up, and the sleeves fit perfectly into the arm side, and I had absolutely zero issues with this pattern at all. They're two separate patterns, the sleeveless version and the sleeved version. They're not, it's not one pattern with two different armholes. It's two completely separate patterns. I just wanted this one to be a little bit baggier. I don't really know why, I just did. I felt like the other one was maybe a little snug in the bust. So I made this one a size up. But I just wanted to tell you guys that I had absolutely no issues with the shoulders and arms in the sleeved version of that. So I'm still working on that. And when it's finished, I'll let you guys see. The other thing I wanted your opinion on is this dress that I'm wearing today, which is the Merchant & Mills, what's this called? The dress shirt. And I'll put a picture up here. I'll put their pictures up. And then I'm going to put a picture of mine up. And my question is, well, you can see, I don't know if you can really tell, but the shoulders like come up. They have a little space like right here. I really should have straightened out that shoulder slope a little bit. But before I put the yoke on, I did try it on and I didn't notice that. So I will just fix that in the next one. I think maybe, this is 100% cotton flannel. And I think once I wash it, that'll sort of shrink up a little bit. If it doesn't, I can steam it down with an iron, because we all know how fond I am of using an iron. Anyway, my question for you is, this is the picture of me in it right here. If you can see the hem, Claude had a really hard time staying out of the camera. But my question is, do I wear it like this as a dress, or do I shorten it and wear it with pants? If I shorten it, I would go to like just above the knee, like usual, like most of my tunics, and just wear it with pants. I also wanted to point out, I used my, on this pattern, you guys, I used my regular size, which I think in them, I think in Merchant & Mills, the size I usually make is a 14. This is the first time I've made this, and I didn't change anything about this. Like I said, the only thing I would change is this little thing right here. Everything else seems to be fine. And, of course, the length may or may not change. I did a couple of things differently in the yoke and stuff. But all in all, it's a very simple pattern, and it goes together pretty well. I cut my sleeves on the bias because I really love the way plaid looks on the bias, number one. And number two, when you cut your sleeves on the bias, I just think they lay more nicely. That could just be me, but somebody else told me that years ago, and I always try to cut them on the bias if I can. And I added these little buttons. I'll show you an up-close picture. These were my, inspired by that earlier photograph I showed you of the Diane Ericson buttons on that like shirt or jacket or whatever it was. Yeah, so let me know what you think about the length in this. Shorter as a tunic, or just leave it long and wear it as a dress. I don't really wear dresses that often. It is pretty heavy cotton flannel, so I could really only wear it in the winter, which means I'm even less likely to wear a dress. So really breaking all those rules I made about only making things I want to wear. But yeah, I'm hoping by reducing the number of garments I make every month and like sticking with that, that'll also sort of curb my fabric and pattern shopping, since I will know in my head already that I don't have that much space for making them. Do you think that'll work? Let's see. Alright guys, that is it for me today. As always, I thank you so very much for stopping by and spending some time with me. I really do appreciate it. I hope you have all had a wonderful holiday season, and I look forward to sewing with you guys all year long in 2022. Happy New Year.